All right, the Utah Jazz had another game, another night where the Boston Celtics announcers are trying to hurt our feelings. Let's talk about this game, what happened. Happy Friday, it's the Hoops Nerd post-game show. All right, guys. So the Utah Jazz lose to the Boston Celtics, but let's talk a little bit about it. The Boston Celtics team, last time the Jazz played, Jason Tatum did not play and Jaylen Brown played. They barely beat the Jazz, and then this one, Jaylen Brown does not play and Jason Tatum plays, and they dominated the Jazz in Utah. Kind of tells you a little bit about the difference between playing Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Jason Tatum really is that impactful of a guy, and he really took control of this game from the beginning. And overall, we could go into each individual player, but, Porzingis with 27, he was just awesome tonight. Drew Holiday showed again that he's such a nice defensive player, and Derek White, just an overall helpful, winning player. Al Horford, I mean, you just go down the list. They just have winning players on this Celtics team, and they didn't even play Jaylen Brown. So this Boston Celtics team is 100%, in my opinion, probably the favorites in the East. And I think, honestly, when this season started, I kind of just figured it would be Boston and OKC, and that's looking like what it might be when this all goes down. So not much else to say with the Celtics, and honestly, not a ton to talk about this game. I will say I just enjoyed Collin Sexton tonight. We usually don't talk a lot about Sexton. In a lot of ways, it's just you'd rather trade him than anything to see what you can get for him. But with this season winding down, Utah is really locked into working towards Cooper Flagg or a top 3-4 pick, whatever they get. But it's just nice some nights having Collin Sexton where you have moments where he's awesome. He was 12 for 16 tonight against the Boston Celtics with 30 points. He was just awesome tonight. I mean, the defense isn't all that great, but he's such a fun, exciting offensive player. His energy is just great. He does so many different things scoring the ball. He's one of those guys where you're just surprised if his shots aren't falling. He's just become such an efficient scorer for the Jazz. I have a hard time not seeing somebody want him this upcoming offseason because I think he can be a really nice bench player for a lot of teams out there. He brings really good energy, efficient scoring, good leadership, good teammate, just so many things to like about Collin Sexton. It's nice to see. Svi Mikhailiuk played. He got his... he did not actually have his revenge game against the Boston Celtics. He goes 1 for 5. Guys, I don't know what to say about Cody Williams. He has a few plays here and there, but there's a lot of things that are just like whatever. We'll see next year. Next year is going to be important for him because he's got to show some stuff. He did not show a lot in the Washington game, and tonight, interestingly enough, probably a better game. So I don't know. Walker Kessler only took 1 3 tonight. He's been Ray Allen, but he had a really nice night. Look at this line: 8 points, 6 assists, 11 rebounds. He's doing some things where he's handling the ball, doing some moves in the post and things like that. Really impressive stuff from Walker Kessler. And we're just seeing Walker Kessler do more and more each game. And it's just kind of, I like what we're seeing from the Utah Jazz because we're seeing them kind of push some of these guys, and especially Walker Kessler. I know that the Jazz love what they're getting from him and that they love the season he's having, and we'll see what happens this offseason. Do not be surprised if the Jazz do look at moving Lauri Markkanen, but I would say, just based off of certain things, it would be more surprising to see Walker Kessler get traded at this point than Lauri Markkanen. Lauri Markkanen, do not be surprised about a trade this offseason. I'm telling you, do not be surprised if that happens. That is something that I would say is like a 60-40 chance of happening. Utah is going to go for a top 3 pick next year. They are going to go young. The Jazz are still in teardown mode, and just, I'm telling you, don't be surprised at that at all. Let's see. We talked to Collin Sexton. Isaiah Collier's really come down to earth a little bit. 2 for 9 in this one. against a very good Boston Celtics team. It's why you got to be impressed with Collin Sexton, what he's doing against a very good Celtics team. Collier, on the other hand, he's just not there yet scoring, but he has plenty of time to learn that. It's hard to learn to be a guard in the NBA. Isaiah Collier is in the learning process. This just is what it is. But he's still got 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 5 points. It's a learning process. We'll see what happens with lineups next year, but it's been interesting to watch him get kind of focused on by defenses. We've seen it with Keontae George. It's a different world when the defense has the scouting report on you and is focused on you. It's just a different world, and so things change. And when you win Rookie of the Month, that shows up in opposing teams' game plans, and they will game plan for you. And that's what's happening, and he's slowing down a little bit. Keontae George, can we give Keontae George some flowers tonight? Look at this, 19-7. He did have some turnovers, and there were a few defensive plays where you could see where, wow, that was not very good. He also had a few nice defensive plays. And, one thing that I was thinking about watching this is it's going to be really fun in 2 years or so let 2 years or so if the Jazz get lucky in the lottery, by the way. But in 2 years or so, when Key is in like year 4, year 5, he's going to be a lot of fun, guys. He's improving at a very nice rate. Look at that, 43%. He has that goal of getting to 40% plus. And I'm really excited about him just kind of learning to do this. He's shooting the ball better, but part of the process of improving your field goal percentage is knowing when not to shoot the ball. Look at that, 39.9. He's right there. It would be super cool to see him get to 40% and above. If he can learn to become, if Keontae George gets to 45 and 40, eventually, I think that's where he's going to eventually be, somewhere in that 45 to 50% range from the field, 35 to 40% from 3. You hope something more like 38 to 42. We'll see what happens. But year 4, year 5 for Keontae George is going to be a blast. He is going to be a high-impact player with what he does on the offensive end. And there will be games in the future, mark my words. I guess he could do poorly next year. He could get included in some trade. I guess that's always a possibility. But I really can see him being a really nice, active piece for this Utah Jazz in the future. Now, it's probably more likely that he is a player that plays 20 minutes a night with the second unit, but if he's scoring at a super high efficiency and doing a lot of nice things off the bench, that's great. That's great. You need a guy like Keontae George who can get his shot when he wants it, especially just pull-up shooting anywhere on the court, by the way. He has a floater game. He has a good handle. He has good passing. 7 assists. He led the team in assists tonight off the bench. That is a weapon when he's not just scoring, but passing the ball, and he'll get better, guys. So year 4, year 5, I'm excited to see what he does. We get another year of him next year. He's good enough where they have to rest him on certain games that they want to lose. That's where he's at. Offensively, his offensive impact is huge. The defense has to get better. But I tell you what, and this goes with draft prospects too, this is something that I honestly, I believe in coaching. I don't know if you guys believe in coaching, but I don't love when people just take a snapshot of a player and say, this is what they are. This is it. No, that is what a player is in that moment, right? Keontae George is in year 2. He can't get better? We've seen players get better. Some players do not, but some players do. There's certain players that have exponential growth, and we're seeing growth from Keontae George. I'd like to see more growth defensively, but I believe in coaching. I think that certain players, if they're willing to grow, willing to mold, and can learn new skills and things like that, can get better, and I'm excited to see what he can do. It's why when we look at draft prospects, what we're seeing is what a player is right now. If we just said, oh, this is all Cooper Flagg is when he was playing in Maine as a high school player, he just looked like an extremely good defensive player that could roll to the basket. That's what Cooper Flagg looked like. He looks like a completely different player at Montverde than he did in Maine, and he looks like a completely different player now than when he did at Montverde to now. It's why I actually think Cooper Flagg is going to be an absolute monster, because not only does he play his heart out, has a high skill level, super competitive, great body, athleticism, just the physical tools, the demeanor, everything. The guy gets better. And so that's one thing that makes Cooper Flagg so incredibly tantalizing, is that he can just get better. He just gets he's coachable. He wants to get better. He learns things. He implements them into his game. It makes him so... I mean, that aspect alone makes him the number one pick easily. On top of the fact that he's the most complete prospect in this draft in just everything you could want. My goodness, I hope we win the lottery, guys. I just can't. I can't tell you how bad I want that guy on the Jazz. But that's the thing, is he'll get better. These other players are getting better. Keontae George is getting better. Look at this, 7 assists. What he's doing this year compared to last? Look at this. He's upped his three-point attempts. He's shooting 2 percentage points better from three, 35%. It's not being talked about enough. A lot of people, that's the other thing I want to talk about. Not just that I believe in coaching, but can we talk about what a player does and can do and is good at? You know what I mean? Instead of always just focusing on the can't. Oh, they can't do this. They can't do that. Oh, they're not this. They're not that. Well, guess what? Most players have a lot of different things that they are not. But, you look at certain play, if we looked at Nikola Jokic, and I do it because I'm a hater, but if we only talked about, if we talked about Nikola Jokic, oh, he's too slow laterally. He's bad defensive player, not very good, gets taken advantage of. If you get him out to the three-point line, you can drive right by him. Is that how people talk about Nikola Jokic? No, they talk about what he can do, right? Can we talk about prospects and players like Keontae George, what they can do? What he can do is score at an elite level. He's on pace to become a great offensive player. Does he need to get better defensively? Absolutely. He absolutely does. But what he does offensively, he makes those around him better, and he can still get better. I mean, there's times where you watch him play and you need him to execute the action faster. He just needs to. But that's starting to happen more and more. I'm noticing it. I don't know if you guys are, but I'm noticing that he is getting into actions quicker than he was at the start of the year. He is passing the ball, making better plays. Tonight, seven assists, 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers isn't great, but that's not horrific. In 33 minutes, that's pretty darn good, to be honest. When you consider guys like Harden and Trae Young, and those guys are turning the ball over 5 times a game, that's pretty decent. Is it great? No, but 3 is not terrible, and that's against a good defensive team. Drew Holiday, Derek White, those are good defensive guards. So can we please, we got to talk about Keontae George in more, he's a piece for the future. He just is. When we talk about Walker Kessler, a piece for the future, absolutely. Keontae George also. Is he maybe a starting guard? I don't know. Maybe he does. Why not? But for now, we know that he is for sure an NBA rotation player, and I think he could be a rotation player on a championship team. Why not? Why not? He can get better, and he's getting better. It's exciting. Kyle Filipowski had a little bit more of a tougher night. He's been really showing out against some of the bad teams. Tonight, it's why you got to give credit to Keontae George. But tonight, he struggled against the Celtics. And that's what happens when you go up against someone like Porzingis and Al Horford. It's tough stuff. Those are good championship players. And so this is good experience for Filipowski. He's just a rookie. We've seen what he can do. He needs time to develop. And I think he can. 1 for 4, it's fine. It was all 3-pointers. That's interesting. But he still manages 4 rebounds. But look at that. 5 turnovers. Tough night for Filipowski, but we're not expecting rookies to have great nights every night, especially when you're playing against a really good Boston Celtics team. Let's see. I don't have a lot to say about, Johnny Juzang shot the ball. I'm kind of out. I'll be honest, I'm kind of ready for Utah to start focusing more on drafting defensive players first. And there's a part of me that's we just talked about Keontae George with this. I hope that he can improve defensively. I think he can. Some of the defensive stuff I think is effort and just being willing to get in someone's jersey and just play really tough defense. We'll see if Keontae George can do that. I think a little bit with Key is just effort. But there's a part of me that's is it easier to teach a defensive player offensive skill, or is it easier to teach an offensive player defensive skill? I don't know. but I would certainly love to draft defensive players that we know have all the tools and ability to be defensive players. I mean, I kind of feel like Utah did that with Cody Williams and Taylor Hendricks, although we knew that Taylor Hendricks and Cody Williams could shoot the three. So they're going to need some development. It still sucks to this day. We did not see Taylor Hendricks all season. It sucks. Sucks. But I'm kind of out on Johnny Juzang. I want to see Taylor Hendricks this upcoming season. This draft is going to be so fun to see what the Jazz do, who they get, what they are able to mesh with these young players, and it's going to be a fun year next year. Yeah, they're going to lose a lot, but it's going to be fun to see who of these players continues to develop, who is on an exponential growth path, and who gets moved on from. Micah Potter, not much to say. Bryce Sensabaugh, here and there, will just make a nice play. Look at that, +7 for Sensabaugh. He just shoots the ball pretty well, and he's getting a little more consistent with his better games than he is with his bad ones. He's had some stretches this year where it was like, holy smokes, I don't know if this guy's an NBA guy. And then he'll have stretches where, like he's had for the last 2-3 games, where you look at this guy and you're like, he's got some nice things to him offensively. He's got to improve as well, but one thing you know is he can score the ball at a pretty efficient level now. 3 for 7 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, 4 rebounds. I mean, pretty nice. +7. It's just 12 minutes, and maybe there's a reason he only plays 12 minutes, but that was pretty nice. All right, guys, I don't got much else to say tonight. I hope everyone has a nice weekend. We will be back on Sunday, but first we've got to check out the lottery. Utah got a favor last night. Charlotte won again. So Utah, even though they lose to beat Washington, it's a loss, really. They are locking down this top 2 spot, which is great. Earlier this year when Utah was sitting at 5 or 6 and I was freaking out, I would have been just ecstatic to know that Utah was going to lock in the number 2. So I'm pretty happy about that. Pretty great. Yes, now the floor is 6 instead of 5, but I'll take 2 instead of 5. I'll tell you that much. When you're sitting at 5 and 6 right here, you have just as much likelihood to drop down as you do to go up. And so this is a great spot for Utah to be. Why am I putting my headphones on and not playing music? This is a great spot for Utah to be. I'm personally very happy with it. And honestly, there's still an opportunity for Utah to get to the 1. Washington has an easier schedule than Utah does. Look at this. Remaining schedule strength. The last easy game for Utah that they have to really try and lose is this Charlotte game. I think everything else is this is cake, man. Utah at worst, I guess at best, is going to win one more game. This is it. So this is great. And then you look at Washington. Where's Washington? Look, they've got all these games they can win. Look, they started, Orlando's in the easy list. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. But anyways, there's very, very much a world where Washington wins more than Utah. So, pretty cool. All right. And then, stupidly, the Minnesota Timberwolves won tonight, which sucks. Gives Jazz the number 20. Any sort of loss is huge for the Timberwolves. So, every night, we are rooting against the Minnesota Timberwolves. All right. If the lottery was today, guys, what would happen? Let's see. Lottery night, Jazz at the 2. Here we go. Drop to 5. Dang it. But looks like they give us VJ Edgecombe? Oh, mama. If we go to 5 and we get VJ Edgecombe, I'm ecstatic. Because I'm hoping we get at least top 4. Did they really give Kasparis Jakusonis the 4 spot? That's crazy. Let's see here. That's weird. Does this change based off of what people are drafting? Because look, they have him at 6. That's weird. Oh, look, we got Cooper Flagg. I'll take it. All right, guys, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars. Let's give a shout out to Robert Hall of Fame, Christian House Money to Haas, Cam Bam, thank you, ma'am, Ryan Edward Perry, the legend, I Believe in Steve, Jazz Exile, Baby Elliott Madsen, disconnected. All right, I think we're back. Like I said, guys, if I missed your name, I'm really sorry, but if you'd like to support the channel, hit join. I would